many other...
Hi everyone, welcome to WION Live Broadcast from New York City. I'm Susan Tehrani. First, let's take a look at the top stories making headlines this hour. Russia says Ukrainian forces cut off inside Bakhmut and claims supply lines to Ukrainian troops in the city have been blocked. U.S. Federal Appeals Court rules to keep an abortion pill temporarily available, but under tighter restrictions. A lawsuit over approval of the pill continues. Norway expels 15 Russian diplomats it claims were working as intelligence officers, declares them persona non grata. Iran hanged 75% more people in 2022 than the previous year. As per two leading European human rights groups, the figure of 582 executions in Iran last year is the highest since 2015. And another day, another comeback in the NBA's play-in tournament. The Chicago Bulls rallied from 19 points down to beat 2019 champions Toronto Raptors and stay in the hunt for the playoffs. Former President Donald Trump is back in New York. He arrived in Manhattan on Wednesday night. He's here for a deposition before New York's Attorney General. A $250 million business fraud lawsuit was brought against him and his company by Attorney General Letitia James. The former president's arrival comes a week after he was arraigned in the Manhattan criminal court. He was charged on 34 counts of felony in that hush money case from District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office. He pleaded not guilty to the charges. This time, Trump's expected to be grilled by New York Attorney General Letitia James, who is suing the Trump Organization over alleged wrongdoings. These include misleading banks and others that inflated the value of golf courses and hotels that bear his name. The Democrat who Trump has blasted over her probe is seeking $250 million from his business. James also seeks to block him from doing business in the state. The New York Attorney General filed a civil lawsuit in the state court in Manhattan last September. The case was filed against Trump and his three children for fraud. Donald Trump, along with Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, and Ivanka Trump. All three are accused of misstating the value of real estate properties, including the president, in order to obtain favorable loans and tax benefits. Trump has countersued James after she filed the case. In March, Trump requested the court to delay the deadline of the case by 6 months. He argued that extending the deadline would provide the necessary time to review, quote unquote, the staggering volume of material. Okay, well, for more on this, we are joined by Adele Nazarian. She's joining us live from Washington, D.C. She's media fellow at the Gold Institute for International Strategy. Adele, welcome back to WION. Another day, another case in New York for Donald Trump. Are all the cases against Donald Trump equal? And, what do you make of this case by Letitia James against the company?
Great to be with you again. No, the only thing that makes these cases against Trump equal is the amount of personal bias and hatred, vitriol, that the individuals behind these lawsuits and cases are bringing upon Trump. I think that's the underlying factor here. And what makes this case different is
and
that...
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say that this case it's fascinating to me how there are so many businesses, so many entrepreneurs, corporations, individuals, entities that have done similar to what former President Trump has done in the business world, in New York State, frankly. And they do not seem to have been even scathed slightly due to their ability to, let's say, manipulate or work within the legal framework of the U.S. tax code to avoid paying more taxes, or to use certain loopholes that exist in the tax system that they were able to use to their advantage. And I think it's very, very interesting to me, and I'm sure to many of your viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. Trump derangement syndrome, for sure, when it comes to these lawsuits, notably considering the fact that Letitia James ran her campaign on dragging Donald Trump to a courtroom near you, for a lack of a better term. So I want to know the impact, in your opinion, that these cases, one after the other, ultimately will have on the American voter, the American public. We do know that Republicans have stood by Donald Trump, for now at least. But what about the rest of the country? Do you think that there'll be Trump fatigue, and this is what these cases ultimately hope to achieve? Or maybe the other way around?
You know, I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's truly a combination of both Trump fatigue and a combination of that, along with a reinvigoration of the base and also new individuals who weren't as politically engaged or involved. I think we saw a lot more of first-time kind of politically involved, engaged members of civic society when Trump ran the first time in 2016. I think now there have been more people in, let's say, the business space who maybe have who can relate to Trump and what he's going through, or are literally seeing the facts in the cases brought against him and saying something doesn't line up here. This seems like a politically motivated attack. And it's going to cause them to also come out and become first-time voters. Now, whether or not the fatigued voters are going to end up going with a different candidate, like a DeSantis or a Cruz or whoever else is going to be a more formidable GOP contender, or they're going to end up going Democrat, that remains to be seen. But I think what's going to happen over the next, I'd say, 4 months will really, really strongly determine whether or not former President Trump has an actual shot at cinching the nomination in the general election cycle.
Yeah, that's very true, and we'll keep an eye out for those independent voters as well. It's hard to imagine. It's so early on in the game, but we can't help but talk about 2024 and the upcoming elections. Adele, thank you so much for joining us on WION, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thank you. Likewise.
North Korea has fired another ballistic missile this morning. The launch comes 2 days after North Korean state media reported that leader Kim Jong-un called for strengthening the country's war deterrence in a, quote, more practical and offensive manner. The counter was to counter what it called moves by aggression by the United States. According to South Korean military, the missile was medium or long range. It was fired into the sea off the east coast of the Korean peninsula. Seoul said North Korea likely fired a new type of missile that may have used advanced solid fuel. If true, it could represent a potential technical breakthrough for Pyongyang's banned weapons program. South Korea military said that it's on high alert and coordinating closely with the United States.
중거리급 이상이라고 저희가 2부에 공지를 했고 3부에 그 단어가 없는데 우리 군은 오늘 07시 23분경 평양 인근에서 동해상으로 발사한 중거리급 이상의 탄도미사일 한 발을 포착하였습니다. 북한의 탄도미사일은 고각으로 발사되어 약 1000km 비행 후에 동해상에 탄착하였으며 이에 대한 세부 재원은 한미 정보당국이 정밀 분석 중에 있습니다.
Japan has also reacted strongly to the missile launch. Pyongyang's move prompted Japan to order residents on northern Hokkaido region to take shelter as a precaution. This is the same region where climate and environmental ministers from the Group of Seven are due to meet this weekend. The shelter order has now been lifted after authorities confirmed that the missile didn't fall within Japanese territory. Prime Minister Kishida now wants to hold a 4-ministerial meeting of the National Security Council in response.
北朝鮮が弾道ミサイルを発射しました。そして弾道ミサイルは我が国領域内に落下していないことは確認をしています。この後詳しい報告を受けた上で NSC4 大臣会合を開催したいと思っています。
Japan's response has been furious. The chief cabinet secretary said that Japan is quote-unquote outraged. He condemned North Korea's repeated missile launches as a threat to the safety of Japan and the international community as well.
今回の発射行動は国際社会全体への挑発をエスカレートさせる暴挙であり、これまでの弾道ミサイル等の度重なる発射も含め、一連の北朝鮮の行動は、我が国、地域及び国際社会の平和と安全を脅かすものであり、断じて容認できません。このような弾道ミサイル発射は、関連する安保理決議に違反するものであり、国民の安全に関わる重大な問題です。我が国としては、北京の大使館ルートを通じて、北朝鮮に対して厳重に抗議しました。
The United States has also strongly condemned the latest missile launch for what it described as the test of a long-range ballistic missile. North Korea has launched around 30 missiles this year in response to the military drills being conducted by South Korea and the United States, which Pyongyang views as a recipe for an invasion.
North Korea missile launch sparks alarm in Japan. Tension in the region grows as North Korea has already fired 27 missiles this year.
The missile was of medium or longer range. The missile was fired from North Korean capital of Pyongyang.
Seoul says the new type of missile may have used advanced solid fuel, representing a potential technical breakthrough for Pyongyang.
North Korea likely fired a new type of missile that may have used advanced solid fuel.
WION continues to track the simmering tensions in the Korean peninsula.
A U.S. federal appeals court has upheld access to the abortion pill mifepristone, for now at least, but the court has imposed limitations on the availability of the pill. The period of pregnancy when the drug can be used has been reduced. The court also prohibited that it be dispensed by mail. The ruling has temporarily narrowed a decision by a Texas lower court. The earlier ruling had completely blocked the FDA's approval of the nation's most commonly used method of abortion. The Texas order unsettled abortion providers less than a year after the reversal of Roe v. Wade, that judgment by the Supreme Court. The reversal of Roe already dramatically curtailed abortion access. The case is now likely to go to the U.S. Supreme Court. Mifepristone was approved for use by the FDA more than 2 decades ago. In a far-reaching ruling last week, a federal judge blocked the FDA's approval of the pill following a lawsuit by the drug's opponents. There is no precedent for a lone judge overturning the regulator's medical recommendations. The ruling was put on pause to allow an appeal. Just before midnight on Wednesday, the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans ruled that the FDA's initial approval of mifepristone in the year 2000 could remain in effect. But in the 2-to-1 vote, the panel of judges put on hold changes made by the regulator since 2016. These changes relaxed the rules for prescribing and dispensing mifepristone.
Going to continue to fight in the courts. We believe that the law is on our side and we will prevail. So that I can reassure the American people that is our commitment to women, millions of women across the country, and also providers who are at the front lines, working every day to make sure that women are able to make decisions for themselves about their own body.
The UK and US have launched fresh sanctions against Russian oligarch Alisher Osmanov as tensions between the West and Russia grows. The sanctions are also against Cyprus-based financial fixers who allegedly helped mask assets of Osmanov as well as Russian billionaire Roman Abramovich. Both US and UK have added dozens of individuals and companies on the financial blacklist who are linked to the oligarchs. The sanctions are a part of a Western effort to cripple the activities of powerful figures accused of supporting Russian President Vladimir Putin. Osmanov has a wide network of businesses in financial safe havens, including Cyprus. The U.S. claims Osmanov's moved the money to avoid sanctions using the help of his family members. UK's Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office says that Cyprus-based financial fixers helped Abramovich hide over $760 million in assets last year before being sanctioned. Washington has also slapped sanctions on firms in Hong Kong, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates. The U.S. claims these firms were selling drones and electronics, including U.S.-made semiconductors, to Russia's defense sector. Time and again, Amazon has been criticized for exposing workers to unsafe working conditions. And now this is what a new report says, that Amazon is responsible for more than half of all serious U.S. warehouse injuries that happened last year. According to a report, the company was responsible for 53% of all serious warehouse injuries recorded in the U.S. last year. Note that in 2022, Amazon reported a total of 38,609 recordable injuries. The report also mentions that Amazon warehouse workers continue to suffer injuries more frequently than their non-Amazon counterparts. This comes nearly 2 years after Jeff Bezos said that Amazon would spend $300 million to improve workplace safety. And this leads us to an important question. Is Amazon failing to make meaningful progress on worker safety? Amazon keeps saying that it wants to become Earth's safest place to work, but the failure to provide safe working conditions raises major questions about whether the company continues to put profit before the safety of the very people responsible for its success. New York City has a new rat czar. The city's mayor, Eric Adams, has appointed Kathleen Karate as the city's first ever citywide director of rodent mitigation. Karate will now be tasked with the responsibility of coordinating with various city government agencies, community organizations, and the private sector to reduce the rat population here in New York City. Eric Adams has also announced an additional $3.5 million funding for this project. In a statement, Adams said, quote, New York City has done a lot recently when it comes to fighting public enemy number one, rats. But it was clear that we needed someone solely focused on leading our rat reduction efforts across all the 5 boroughs. And Kathleen Karate is New York City's first ever rat czar. Taking to Twitter, Adam outlined Karate's credentials. She has a background in science and expertise in rodent mitigation. He further emphasized on how she will be able to deliver an equitable quality of life experience for all New Yorkers. Karate has served as the DOE's Queens Director of Space Planning. She has managed $500 million in capital development funds to optimize New York City public schools' building utilization and further ensure fair distribution of resources. Meanwhile, the New York City government has urged people to take some steps as part of rat reduction efforts.
We are just really happy today to say that we have found our rat czar. And
now, some news from Los Angeles. Hollywood actor Arnold Schwarzenegger took to the street of his Los Angeles neighborhood to fill an enormous pothole after being fed up with waiting for it to be filled by city authorities. He even posted a video of himself repairing it. But city officials said that the star's goodwill was misplaced. What the 75-year-old Hollywood actor filled was actually an essential service trench. According to officials, the so-called pothole is a service trench that relates to active permitted work being performed at the location. It will be completed by the end of May. In a video posted on his social media, the Terminator actor was seen lugging bags of tarmac and filling in a large hole in the road to help out residents of his local community in Los Angeles. So instead of solving a problem, the actor was actually creating one.